Hello, can y'all hear me? Huh. Yorka, you're still here. Can you hear me? Is my microphone working? Am I working? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yes. Okay, great. Well, guess what? We are doing a, I guess you can call this just a, it's basically a discussion video. We're talking about the, like, our impressions. I plan for this to be at least an hour, maybe longer, depending on how into it we get. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the Splatoon 3 Splatfest World Premiere, like demo, test fire, whatever you want to call it. But it's not just me that's doing this. We're also joined by someone who joined us last week during the actual test fire, and that would be, oh, let me do this right here, Virile. Alrighty. Soul Black Guy. Oh, hey, there you are. Okay, I was wondering when I'd see you specifically. No, not really, but yeah. So this was, I kind of just approached Virile right after this, and was like, hey, I think it would be a good idea to just try and like do some kind of post review or post like Splatfest impressions of the game for the first you know, for getting our hands on the game for the first time. And this actually isn't the first time we've done this. I believe it was a couple of years ago. It was like, I think in 2020, where we did a predictions video for it was the ARMS character, I think, for mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I said Ninjara for like mostly. That was at least when I played the game. That was my main. But well, now we return 2 years later. Big grand entrance to talk about Splatoon 3, and I'm sure some of y'all will probably have your own opinions on Splatoon. Can't hear Virile. Oh, that is, you can't hear. Hold up. Oh, you know what? I think I know what the problem is. Okay, hold up. Let me get. All right. How about now?
Are you able to hear me now? I'm just hoping
Okay,
that this
repeat
is the
everything you
last of our
just said.
issues. So.
We 2 years ago we did the prediction
Yeah,
stream.
so right. So 2 years ago were just like we were on like just discussing on your channel with the predictions on the ARMS character that was going to be coming for Super Smash Bros. I at the time was hoping for like King Cobra because he wasn't a spirit in the game, and that was my philosophy on like it's probably not going to be a character who's a spirit already in the game just to keep but because that was like what every other or like character was from previous series added, but then that was proven wrong. Like when it was revealed to be Min Min.
Yeah, even I was kind of like, maybe like if maybe they wouldn't do Min Min, but it's like I don't think they would have done the like up the characters that were added through the updates either, and that would have like narrowed it down to like maybe two. But they ended up being Min Min, and I was like, oh well, okay, debunked, spirit theory debunked. But anyway,
Yeah.
so today we're here for the Splatoon 3, almost said 2. Splatoon 3 I keep wanting to say test fire, but that's basically what it is. But it was more than a test fire because
Yeah.
the test fires, um, there was they were just kind of. I feel like the test fires they were just kind of thrown together. They're more
It-
like beta tests than anything.
yeah, like the test fires were pretty much like on you just get to pick a weapon and that's it. You get to play with it online. And
Yeah.
like there are a few maps that were available and that you pretty much just pick a weapon, go play and like the Splatfest demo for Splatoon 3 was so much more customizable. With not only did we get more weapons, but we also got to customize our character, our gear, and all that. And
Yeah.
like it was definitely a lot better of a test spot there.
Yeah.
And I would probably say it's a great demo.
Yeah. I would say out of the Splatoon demos because I think Splatoon 2 also had the. I think they're the only ones that had 3 test like demos before the game came out. I know Splatoon 1 had like a demo or they had a test fire like months after the game was already out. But then they had 2 test fires before that. But Splatoon 2 had a test fire and it had the Splatfest World Premiere. And I think yeah, really good demo. Yeah, I agree. I think back then it was like you did go into the like plaza and choose your side, and then you went in, but that's all you did. I don't remember if you could actually join friends or anything, but um, I I'd have to look up like a video of that or something to remember. But by far, I would even say of most demos on the Switch, this one was probably the most like authentic or most similar. Now, obviously, we don't have the game yet, but I would assume that's almost exactly how Splatfests are going to work in Splatoon 3 once the game comes out, where basically we were just playing the game. The only thing we couldn't do is level up, which in turn made it so we couldn't buy things, from the shops. But yeah, that seemed
Right.
like we were basically just playing the main game, which, like I said, probably of all the demos on the Switch, that was probably the most like close to the real game a demo got on the Switch. And I'd like to see the turnout rate, like how many people actually came out to play that. Play the Splatfest World Premiere. And it's a good idea that they do these over a Splatfest, because I think people might have missed the like original test fires, because there was no. I mean, it was like a demo of the game, but it wasn't like. It wasn't like, I guess, making people like choose a side or something like that, because I feel like making the Splatfests the demos kind of really puts a lot of engagement into the demo. Makes people actually want to get the demo really badly. So as far as so I guess helping it get the game out there to people. Being able to play Salmon Run in single player would have been cool. I think Salmon Run, if they did anything, they'd probably make that its own demo. I don't think they would have put Salmon Run and Splatfest in one demo. Especially, hopefully they don't do this where it's like Splatoon 2 where Salmon Runs are all shifts and sometimes you can play it, sometimes you can't. I'm going to assume with how much they fixed in this game that that's one of the things they fixed was that you can basically play Salmon Run whenever. But definitely during the demo, I doubt they would have done that. But anyway, getting on with sort of what we're sort of discussing. I was just talking about like how basically sort of gauging how popular this game might be, how good the sales of the game will be in comparison to Splatoon 2, based on this demo alone. But as far as our actual impressions on the demo itself, I'll go ahead and get yours to begin with, Varel. So, what did you think of the demo
All right.
overall?
All right. So, like, first off, the demo was an absolute blast. I honestly love the demo straight up. Like, it's hard for me to find something that I absolutely hate about the demo. Oh, like when I actually was playing it, it felt like extremely good to play, and like that in itself, like I felt like the game actually felt more responsive to control with, and that was actually one of the first things I noticed.
Yeah, I kind of thought that as well. I'd even say I don't even think it had anything to do with like because they obviously they added like the squid the squid dash and the surge and stuff, but that's like optional stuff. You don't
Yeah.
have to do those to actually enjoy the game.
Yeah, like I'm not referring to those at all. Like, I'm actually referring to like the actual game felt a lot smoother to control. Like and like not just with the motion controls, but also with pretty much with even the camera stick. Like if you were to
Yeah,
play stick controls, it still feels a lot smoother. Like I've seen, like I was just playing, and even though I cranked my sensitivity up to like the absolute highest, which is like the 5 sensitivity, and that's why I play with both my stick and how my motion sensitivity is. Like even in Splatoon 1 and 2, like I did the same thing. I just cranked it up to the max. It felt really responsive in 3, like compared to 2.
yeah. I'll even say because I do the same, especially with actually it wasn't as necessary in Splatoon 1 because ironically the gamepad actually probably had among the best motion controls of any controller still. Like I went back to play Splatoon 1 for a little bit and I was like, whoa, these motion controls. It's really the gamepad itself because that gamepad was like overdeveloped. Like cuz obviously that was they didn't get to use that thing to its potential, obviously. But I do agree because I turned my sensitivity to 3 and it felt the same as when I had it to 5 on Splatoon 2. And I was like, wait a second. Like, I'm getting it, like, it felt like I was going the same, camera speed as I would have been doing it in Splatoon 2. So I'm thinking, okay, what if I turn this to 5? If this is what 3 feels like, what does 5 feel like? And um, I think I did that and might not have noticed it that much because I was already just kind of in the game already, but it definitely felt like the controls itself felt responsive. I did see a small like critique video of um, the input lag and the input delay that some people took note of it. I think it ended up being like maybe 6 frames or something like that at max, but it looked like it was a locked whatever the input delay was. It's a it's a very consistent input delay, meaning no matter what you're doing or at what point in the game you're doing, it's always going to be the same input delay for everyone, no matter what their like internet.
Controller you're using,
Yeah,
pretty
no
much.
matter what
Yeah.
controller, no matter like whether you're using a Joy-Con or a third-party controller or the Pro controller, or
Yeah.
even if you're using this, like
Yeah, like
so.
Alan, like there's a video. Oh, go. Oh, so I was gonna say like there was a video made by a guy called Alan P who tested the input delay, but for like the Switch and compared it to the Wii U version, like for Splatoon, and he found out that it is pretty much like double the input delay. So like while Splatoon on Wii
Of the
U
Wii U.
had like 3 frames of input delay, in Splatoon 2, it's averaging to almost 6 frames of delay, pretty
Hmm.
much.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with just once again, like the Wii U, the controller itself was like made to
Right.
be like as good as it could possibly be for the Wii U, and also you can't get multiple Wii U's or Wii U gamepads. You can only have one gamepad, whereas you can connect almost any controller to the Switch and be able to play Splatoon with it. So they have. I'm assuming they had to compromise a little bit with input lag to make it all consistent across all controllers. So that makes sense to me. That was one of the few you know um, like complaints, not really complaints, just sort of you know things I saw people sort of criticizing it. I didn't notice it as much. Um, I didn't even see like people that you would normally consider pro players of Splatoon talking about it that much, but uh, that was among like one of the few things I noticed. But I'll go and talk about just oh before we go any further, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the video. Um, if you're watching the video, hit subscribe. Go follow VorileBemx on Twitch and also subscribe to his channel on YouTube. It's exactly how it. Oh, is it showing? Yeah, it is showing over here. Good. It's exactly how it looks, or how it's spelled here on both YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, follow me on Twitch as well. TactiCast. Subscribe. All right. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, yeah. I love this demo. I would say yeah. Pro, uh, as I stated before, not only is it probably the best demo I've played on the Switch. Not that I've played many, but and of Splatoon. It's just there was so much that you got to do in this demo specifically. But not only that, just as um, assuming that what we saw is how the game will look and play, you know, when the next Splatfest comes out, which will probably be a month from now. Because I think didn't they, generally speaking, they do it by months, a month or two, every month or two, right? I think
Yeah, pretty sure they did that. Yeah.
I think there was a while there, maybe it might have been Splatoon 1, where they were doing them like even faster than a month, uh, where people couldn't keep up with them. Oh yeah, because
Right.
there was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones where they were doing
Oh
them like
yeah, that was like
week after
yeah,
week.
that was a tournament style Splatfest.
Yeah, was that Splatoon 2 or was that
That was Splatoon. That was Splatoon 1.
yeah, yeah, that I think that's the one I'm thinking of where they were actually even more uh, frequent than you know by months. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, and I guess at this point we can like segue into just like our thoughts on just the presentation of the game. Um, I just like the ability that you could not only because all the demos before that you just played the battles and that was it. You didn't you know do anything else. This you got to go into the hub world. You got to go into like all the shops and stuff. You couldn't buy anything, and they'd kick you out, and after you pressed A. But you could go to the shops. You could go into the training room. What was that? I think that was pretty much it. Uh, I think you could also. Oh yeah, you could basically all the relevant stuff. You could change your splash tags. You could you could do a ton of stuff already that
Right.
that I would assume you'd be able to do like right away once you buy the game. And obviously, you got to do all the oh, and right from the get go you could join friends um, in matches. That was another improvement on the last demo at least. Uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely among one of my favorite demos, and obviously this game. If I'm judging it Splatoon on its own as the full game, it was definitely, I would say, definitively, it is going to probably be the best Splatoon, at least by content standpoint, for sure. Um,
Yeah, I would honestly agree because launch content like and back in the original like Splatoon on Wii U and then Splatoon 2, they were pretty weak because there was like very few maps. So like the fact that we're getting 12 maps to start off in Splatoon
yeah, 12.
3 is just a huge bonus like for us to start off. So it doesn't get stale immediately. And that right now like we have a bunch and that like for us Splatoon 2 players, like anyone who's played Splatoon 2 prior, we get 3 golden shell licenses, which we can exchange for any weapon in the game right off the bat. So that's going to be really helpful for us, and like it doesn't get like we don't have to spend so much time trying to like day one trying to unlock the weapon we want to play with.
Yeah, I would even say that probably because I'm going to assume the primarily the people who buy Splatoon 3 at least within the first week are going to be people who already had it, who already had Splatoon 2. So a majority of the people buying Splatoon 3 are going to have whatever weapon they want from the beginning. Assuming well, we got to play with the dynamo roller. So I don't know. Where are they going to be? Is that going to be locked behind story now? I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just unlocked for the Splatfest, but I don't know. It seemed like that. If they had it unlocked for the Splatfest or for the demo, why would they then lock it for the unless they have a new weapon that's going to be locked behind the story mode? But I don't know. But
Like they did that with they did that with the Splatbrella. That's for a long time.
yeah, I remember too. It wasn't like when I first played the game. You could play the Splatbrella in the single player before it even came out, like before it was even released for Splatoon 2. Because I remember, I remember like grinding pretty much or I was trying to like 100% complete the story mode. So I like, I had already gotten all like beat all the levels with every weapon before even the umbrella came out. I think it came out like maybe a month or two after. I don't think it was two. I think it was probably a month after the actual game came out. Um, but yeah, speaking of weapons, I'll go ahead and I think we can kind of segue to the actual gameplay itself. What were well because we had two new weapons. We had the stringer, and we had the
The
splatana.
Splatana.
Yeah, the wiper specifically. Which, by the way, is basically as soon as the demo ended, we got a confirmation of a new Splatana weapon, the Stamper. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's pretty much like it's like a chainsaw. It
Yeah,
looks like a
yeah. That's
chainsaw.
it. It's like a. I'm assuming it's basic. It's like one of them, um, like stamp things that you like scroll or
Yeah,
whatever. Scroll stamp. I don't know what you call them. But yeah,
yeah. I
but
don't remember.
but yeah, it's basically a chainsaw. That's gonna be interesting to see how that because I'm assuming like by the animation that the Inklings do with the Splatana that it's basically going to do the same thing. It's probably going to be slower, like, and the distance is probably going to be farther. So that's going to be interesting. But as far as the weapons we got to play, uh, which one did you prefer using, the Splatana or the string?
Honestly, I actually did prefer playing with the Tri-Stringer more than the Splatana. Despite me playing with the Splatana a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more, I actually did enjoy Tri-Stringer. Though I will admit, Tri-Stringer definitely feels like it needs some changes because it feels really weak. Even like you have to constantly do the jump shot just to get the full damage. Otherwise, it's not gonna kill. Like I've seen like charge shots like max, and then like you don't jump, it does 70 damage at most. Even like when you get it, it's kind of weak like that.
Yeah, it did seem very difficult because what I did notice is at least attacking the dummies. If you hit the dummy with all three shots, without the explosion, it's a kill, but it's like extremely difficult. Even when you're standing still and the enemy's standing still, it's extremely difficult to get a three shot hit. You know, three hit,
Yeah.
basically all three shots on the dummy. And even after that, I didn't see how much damage the actual explosions did, but I think the explosions do less than the actual shots do, like as far as damage.
Yeah, they do. Like, I'm pretty sure that, like, they did around like 20 something. Like, I don't know. It was either like 20 to something.
Hmm. So the,
Like, it's very weak.
now this can be like maybe we were playing just the weakest of the stringers, and another variant of it will just be like the more like I guess the heavier
Yep.
versions of it. Like,
Yeah, probably because the
well,
kit
mhm.
the Tri-Slosher had toxic mist, so it doesn't seem like we're not sure how to use that very well. And this is like also the first time we've played with the weapon, so even
Yeah, it's
though
true.
like probably we're just like probably we're just new to this and it's already good the way it is. It's I still think that it definitely needs some more buffs because the painting capabilities of it's pretty weak, and that like the kill shots like don't definitely need an upgrade still. Like because when you test it out, it doesn't feel like it's like a
Mhm.
completed weapon. It just feels like there's some more flaws with it. Even though like just it's nice that you can actually get a bow and arrow to play it with, and it's like weapon in this game.
Yeah, one thing I did notice with it is it seemed like you kind of had to a couple things with it. You had to spam it if you wanted to ink at all. You had to like rapidly tap R. You couldn't do a full charge shot. Unlike with an actual charger, where if you do a full charge shot, you get a whole line of ink and you can swim through the ink. With the stringer,
Right.
to cover anything, you have to spam. You have to spam the button, basically just how you would do with a brush or a roller,
Yeah,
if you
and
wanted to
not only
cover
that,
anything.
you also have to aim upwards to get the max ink coverage, which
Yep.
is a bit stupid because that means it makes it harder to actually see what's coming up ahead of you. Because without that, like straight on ahead look,
Yeah,
you pretty
actually,
much are leaving yourself
that's
wide open.
interesting because like normally physically that wouldn't work. That would make sense because like well no, I guess that's how like shooting arrows works kind of, but we're talking about we're talking about ink, not arrows. But I don't know, maybe it's the same kind of deal. But I will say I think was it the charging speed. What was? Cause I couldn't tell if it was like quicker or fast or slower than the standard charger. Um,
Oh, it's definitely a lot quicker. Like it's
yeah, I
definitely a
did.
lot quicker.
I thought I noticed that. Like maybe not bamboozler speed, but like slightly less than bamboozler.
Like I would say it's like faster than the Splatlings.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Um, and yeah, what uh, I did too notice that it was pr- the vertical because you when you jumped you got a vertical shot, and I guess that was more useful for killing because you can get the full vertical range of the inkling instead of trying to hit them sideways.
Right.
Um, um, the only time I could see that being like more useful is if you have a bunch of inklings in front of you and you're trying to shoot all of them at once, um, or if you're trying to shoot like some kind of something like a beacon. Or actually, did we have any beacons? Did I don't think I saw any
We
beacons.
did.
We did.
Yeah, we did have a few beacon weapons. I don't. I'm pretty sure like it was like oh god, I forgot the weapon, but we did. There were a few beacon ends in the game. Like
Okay.
I super jumped to a couple of them.
Okay, because I reason I said it because I noticed there were like a couple like regular subs that were non-existent. Um, a couple of I'd have to look at the list again, but like I was looking at them, and I was like, we're missing a couple here. I'd have to because I'm seeing like
Right.
all the basic ones like splat bomb.
Yeah, like
suction bomb,
there's no burst bomb weapons at all in that
Yeah,
demo.
yeah. I didn't see a burst bomb at all. I was like, and no bomb rush. I think that might be a good thing, that there's no bomb rush. It, I don't. It could be either really good or really bad, depending on like how the specials kind of stack up in this game in the end. I'll say this. As for the specials themselves, how balanced they seem on the surface. Um, I think I use the tactical the most. 'Cause I wonder why. But um,
That
it seems like I, I'm because I'm trying to like. Oh, that's the one. No one got to use the Tentamissiles or the Ink Collab, the ink storm. That's the two that didn't get
yeah.
used.
Yeah, there was no weapon in the demo that had Tentamissiles or Ink Storm.
By the way, I noticed too. Not only was the weapon that had the tacticooler, the dynamo roller, it was also the end zap. I know you like using the end zap too, so I was like, okay, both of our favorite,
Yeah.
both of like, one of our favorite weapons both had the tacticooler. So
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny too. I was like, oh, how about that? But I did notice the wave breaker didn't seem that, like, I guess, devastating of a special. In fact, that one seemed like it might have been one of the weaker ones. I didn't. Nah, maybe I just never. Either no one used. I think it was on the Splat link.
There's two types of weapons that had it, like pretty much, and they're both charging weapons: the heavy splatling and the charger.
The standard
were-
charger.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a different chart.
Was it
I'm pretty
the
sure it was a different charger that had it.
was it
like,
the E leader? I can't.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was the E-liter that had
Actually,
it.
yeah,
It was like I know the regular splat charger had like the ink vacuum.
Yes, I do remember using that. I think that one seems like it might be the most broken so far. I don't know. I feel like being able to suck up even the specials might be a little overboard. I think unless like maybe it can't suck up the crab or something. But
It
I don't
can
know.
actually suck up crab damage, but not the actual
Yeah,
crab
not the
itself.
crab itself. Yeah, that or like the toxic mist and stuff like that.
Yeah, I never seen that, so I can't really confirm either.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that. Yeah. So basically, as far as like how the weapons that we're seeing now would affect the meta, we didn't really get a good judge of that. And I didn't say I would even say aside from we didn't get a Brilla, did we? Was it
we did.
we did?
There was two actually. The regular splat umbrella and the tent
Tenta.
umbrella.
I thought I saw the Tenta. I wasn't sure, but okay.
Yeah.
But it didn't
I'm
look.
pretty sure the Tenta was the one that had the beacons. I'm pretty sure that was the one.
That's
that had
probably why I didn't
beacons.
see him, because I didn't
Yeah.
see many people using any Brella. You might have seen. Yeah, you played a lot longer than I did, so you probably saw a lot more than I did. But if you saw them at all, anyway. But yeah, as far as like the oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it didn't seem like, other than the two new weapons we got to play, it didn't seem like anything was really changed that much. Oh, I did notice something about the Tri-Slosher. Did you notice? Did you notice the Tri-Slosher is square now?
Yeah,
yeah,
the design is super changed. Like that was revealed a long time ago. I was like, really? That's Tri-Slosher. They changed it a lot.
I thought, I was like, whoa, what did they do with this thing? And it's like it's not a like a pie
Yeah,
chart.
like,
It's not
no
a.
longer.
It's
Yeah.
like three things down the middle instead of going in a circle, like on
Right.
the inside of the bucket. But it's also a square. It's just it's a cube. Actually, it looks like one of them sandcastle buckets. You know.
Yeah, it does. But it's also like pretty much the real life, like on how the actual Tri-Slosher would look in real life, because it's based off like a paint bucket toy.
Yeah,
pretty much, I think
it actually
was.
looks like like it actually also looks more like it would actually ink the way it does in Splatoon. Because like I even thought that when the Tri-Slosher came out, it's like, how does that even work? Like, it makes the ink go out, 3 different ways, but the for it to do that, it would have to like be curved or something like that on the things. And this
Right.
one like looks like it would make a little bit more sense. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. But as far as like I said, just uh, the the weapons in the game, everything seemed like it was basically the same way it worked in Splatoon 1. They didn't they didn't add I'm glad they didn't do this. I was afraid they would have added the ability to like save your charge with the scope chargers, cuz that was like one of the good trade-offs that they added to the non-scoped chargers, because in Splatoon 1, if you weren't using a scope, you lost. Like there was no reason to, like, you had to use a scope charger. They just dominated
Yeah.
the meta because they had such a higher
Yeah.
range. But now, um, the the non-scope chargers get the added benefit of you being able to go under the ink and come back up, whereas you can't do that with the scope chargers, which is good. I thought they were gonna change that in Splatoon 3, but they didn't. So that's good.
Yeah.
And basically every other change they made to the weapons was the same, like the vertical swing with the rollers, and that's pretty much it. Wasn't really any other addition. And you could also play with
Yeah.
the yeah. I do remember seeing brushes too. Um,
Yeah. There was pretty much both the regular ink brush and the octo brush.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's that. Now, moving on from the weapons, um, this I guess we'll kind of go incrementally up the list here. Stages now. um, Again, I only played like, I think I played like maybe 4 hours max, maybe 5, because I think I cycled through at least 6 stages, maybe. Um, but
Yeah. There
we're
was.
other than, I think, what was it? Sturgeon Shipyard, because that was the only,
Yeah.
no, because there was also Mahi
That
Mahi
was
Resort.
tricolor. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I just
like
meant
pretty much
the returning stages that we played. Uh,
right.
I think that
Like
was. Go ahead. Continue.
so we played on both museums. So pretty much when we were playing, like when you joined up, it was
Oh
Museum
yeah, yeah,
D'Alfonsino
I
in the
do remember that.
rotation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were playing before me on Mahi Mahi, and I was like Mahi Mahi,
Right.
and as soon as I started, as soon as I started, like turn the game on, the maps changed to Museum Dolphintino, and one of the
Right.
Undertow Spillway, that was called,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Pretty sure that was what it was.
the other two new ones was Mincemeat Metalworks, that I got to play anyway. Mincemeat Metalworks and the Gorge, Scorch Gorge, right?
Scorch Gorge. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Scorch Gorge. Pretty much.
yeah. Of the new
It's
stages, well, I think they're all kind of good. Scorch Gorge seemed like probably actually they all seemed a lot more open than some of the Splatoon 2 stages. I don't know. Did you get that from?
um. So the thing is that from when I was playing, unfortunately, a lot from what I saw, like they gutted the Splatoon 1 maps because Mahi Mahi Resort actually, it not only is it like a lot smaller, it plays a lot more differently. Like like the water parts of it, like I like that's fine. Like they can change that, but and it made more sense. But I'm talking about like more of the whole like the actual stage itself. It feels like a lot smaller and more different to traverse. Like it's not as like dynamic as it was back in the original.
Yeah, because I checked back on your stream actually when you were playing through Mahi Mahi Resort, and I noticed too. Because I remember when you played on Mahi Mahi Resort, you were like on opposite corners of the map, and there's like an alleyway you could go down. That once the water level rose, you couldn't go down the alleyway, but you could go the other way and like hop over like platforms and stuff. From what I saw in
Yeah.
your stream, there was no alleyways, and it was like you spawn on the other side of Mahi Mahi Resort, and really all there was to
Exactly.
go through was just sort of the middle. There wasn't a lot of like
Yeah.
backstage stuff, alleyways or
Right.
anything.
Because like a lot of the Splatoon 1 maps, basically now like are extremely good. No longer are you going like through the sides to like because that was actually one of the main reasons why like it was really fun to move around in Splatoon and like how to play it is just like you do like explore around the map and still cover around for turf wars and
Mm-hmm.
like it's more like map diversity on how you move around. But now it
Yeah.
like in Splatoon 3 with the same map on Mahi Mahi Resort, it's like you have to go through center. Like there's no way you not like go through the center in order to go to the other side. Like that just makes it like more predictable to go into.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's just gutted everything about it.
Yeah, like the only because I know I was like, whoa, Mahi Mahi, this stage looks completely different. Like if they changed any stage, it was this one. 'Cause I do like the only way I could say maybe that like the reason they might have done that because I myself included, I remember a lot of people mainly just had problems with that stage because of how often a lot of people fell into the water. Um,
Right.
and uh, particularly in the center because there's always like that part in the center of the stage where the either the rainmaker was on top of or the um, tower was on top of where once the water level rose that part was like exposed so if there were some times where I would get the rainmaker and like hop down and then go the opposite way and then end up in the water so
Right.
but now I don't know if they changed that like I said I didn't see the whole thing but the outer parts of the stage, yeah, those were definitely gone. But it's weird because on Museum d'Alfonzino, that stage seemed pretty much exactly the same. I was trying to look for anything that might have changed, but it looked like pretty much identical. Maybe the only thing I can think of is maybe the rotating like barrels on the like team sides. They might have like changed how fast they rotated or something like that, but it
Right.
seemed pretty much the same stage.
Yeah, like I didn't notice anything about the rotations, but I did notice one tiny detail, and that was just how like the very edge on like the sides of it, there's no like slope you actually walk down. Pretty much, you actually have to swim up, and that's something I don't mind at all. Like it's just
Oh
like a
yeah,
tiny change, and like it's very minimal.
yeah. I did
Everything
know.
else like felt like the exact same. Like I think like other than I guess the only other thing pretty much would be just like that like sometimes like the glass pane pretty much like I was
Yeah,
fooled by that a couple times.
actually, yeah. There was a. I can't remember if this was in Splatoon 1, but there's like a little pocket, like in the middle where that middle barrel is, or drome or whatever you want to call it. But then the sort of trenches on the sides, and then there's a little platform on either
Right.
side of that trench. I don't remember
Yeah.
if that platform was there, like on in Splatoon 1, but I noticed it a lot more here. I don't know if it was in Splatoon 1. I forgot it was there because it just seemed like they like added this there, but maybe maybe it's always in Splatoon 1. I just forgot. But
Yeah.
yeah, so of those returning. Oh, and then Sturgeon Shipyard was the other one, and that was used throughout the whole tricolor turf war. Um,
Yeah.
the only thing that seemed like it was changed there, and they might have changed it just due to tricolor, was like the part where you go off to the side from, I guess, go off to the right side, right where you spawn. It seemed like that part had a lot less cover, and I'm assuming that's so that the middle team can see that someone's coming up from over there, so you know y'all can't sneak up on me with those walls that would have normally been there. Um, but other than that,
Yeah.
Sturgeon Shipyard seemed like they didn't change it pretty much at all.
Yeah. It felt mostly the same pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Again, other than just like the middle parts where the other teams spawn. And I have a little bit to say about like balancing and stuff with Tricolor Turf War, but we'll get to that later. As far as the new stages that came in, uh, again, I only got to play 3 of the new stages. How many stages were there available to play? Was it all 12 or was it?
Not all 12 because Hammerhead was not there, and but I'm pretty sure we did play through more than that. Like, let's see, I don't remember exactly what stages were there. Like, let's see, there obviously Mincemeat Metalwork, Eeltail Alley, Museum d'Alfonsino. What else? Let's see, there was what like
Mahi
obviously, yeah, Mahi Mahi, but you didn't play on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The time we got to play.
Okay.
There's so many. There was a couple of stages. I don't remember. I don't get to play it for as long as I was hoping to, but still, like, I think every map was there. But then again, like some of the maps that did tease off in the trailers weren't like available. Like Hammerhead Bridge, I don't recall ever playing on that, and I don't ever see anyone else playing on that.
Yeah, one thing I did notice too. Was it Splatoon? There was a Splatoon game. I think it was Splatoon 2, where during Splatfest it was a rotation between 3 stages throughout the whole game, or throughout the whole day.
Yeah, there was.
Was that
Yeah,
Splatoon
pretty much.
1 or
There
2?
was 3 stages. 2.
It was
2
Splatoon
because
2.
that was the shifty stations.
Yes, that's right. So this is making me think we're not having shifty stations anymore. Um, because there was a shifty station in the Splatfest World Premiere. I'm surprised I
Yeah.
even like remembered that. But yeah, so no more shifty station, which is weird because I think the whole thing about the shifty stations was that Marino was originally an Octarian that I don't know went over
She is an
to the bright
Octarian.
side. She's an
Yeah.
Octoling, but she was an Octarian, and then she went over to the to the bright side, I guess. And
Yeah, she
she had
was.
connections in Octo Valley where she could make her own stage or whatever. That was like the lore or something like that, right?
Yeah, she was like yeah, and more in the Octo expansion territory. Like it's been revealed that she was part of the Octarian army, and that she was actually the designer of a lot of the weapons that they were using, including
Hmm.
and like not including like the flutters that were there. This
Yeah, a lot of the
like it
single
was
player
insane.
weapons. Yeah. But
Yeah,
anyway, so the fact that we're not seeing shifty stations here means that probably we won't be seeing any shifty stations, and that's also making me
yeah,
think
feels
like,
like it.
okay, so we will be getting regular because I think it was Splatoon 1. They didn't rotate the stages at all. You played the same 2 stages throughout the whole Splatfest. Uh,
No, they did do the rotations. It's because like the rotation
oh, it was because it
was
was
every
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but okay, yeah. So anyway, as far as go, I'll just talk about like because I again of the new stages we got to or I got to play on 3. It was the Undertow Spillway, Mincemeat Metalworks, and Scorch Gorge. I'd say of the 3 we played, I think I liked Mincemeat Metalworks the best. I didn't get to play. I think I played Undertow Spillway the least because we played that sort of. Well, it's because I was like ogling at the hub world for like
right.
30 minutes, and then when it rotated in, I was like, okay, well now I only get a few minutes to play this, or these 2 stages. Um,
Yeah,
but I liked the idea of Undertow Spillway. Like I said, the where where you spawn, and it kind of like I think I mentioned this in the stream, but it kind of reminded me of the Shellendorf Institute, where it had the glass like roof, and
right.
you had to like ink under the roof, but you couldn't. You could aim downward, but you couldn't ink anything on the roof. So it Undertale Speedway kind of had that on both sides, but it didn't completely close the gap. Um, but then the stage itself, like the actual bottom part of the stage, it seemed like um, that it basically divided the stage in half with that little trench, or uh,
Right.
yeah, trench, and I don't know it. I don't know. That one just seemed kind of. It seemed like one of the more tricky stages. But like I said, Mincemeat Metalworks I liked, and Scorch Gorge, I kind of thought that one seemed a lot like Black Belly Skate Park, but without the some of the annoying parts of Black Belly Skate Park. Because I would assume a lot of people would go for that middle like tower, but then the rest of the stage seemed pretty open. Like it was very piranha pit like, where a lot of the stage was pretty open.
Yeah, I honestly agree with that because, like, pretty much, like, Mincemeat Metalworks was by far my favorite of the new stages that we got to play on, and that's mostly because of, like, how open it felt, like, just to run around
Mm-hmm.
still. But even then, like, it didn't feel like that restricted. Like, it just felt like, yeah, it's like the most basic map that you can actually get your hands into starting out on. I feel like that
Yeah,
would be
it seemed
like,
like a good beginner stage.
yeah,
Like, mhm.
yeah. Yeah, and then like Scorch Gorge was insanely fun to play on. Like, sure, like you go through the middle, but then like really, realistically, it's not that big of a deal considering that you still go around the entire map, even if like because it's just like a giant like box like area. You're not really going to be able to go like
Mhm.
around like the other like as most of the other maps like we had like Museum Dolphoncina or
Mhm.
like how Mahi Mahi was before.
Yeah.
Or like we, like pretty much it's just go like you are locked into a box straight up, so you can't really go exactly around like those maps. So it
Yeah.
makes more. So it felt more like. So it felt more tolerable to go through the middle, pretty much, because even though that's where all the hectic is, there's not really much
Mhm.
like you can change for it.
Yeah,
And, but
because
like going into the, oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say I think that map in particular, and maybe Museum Dolphoncino, but like both of those. The grappler special. It seemed like those two stages in particular might have benefited that special a lot because there were a lot of walls you could cling onto and stuff. Or no,
Oh
no,
yeah, Zipcaster definitely benefits from it.
is that what it's called now?
Yeah, it's called the Zipcaster, and it's been called Zipcaster.
Why did I think it was called the grappler?
No,
Oh no, I think you know what? Because I think there's a
because it kind
weapon.
of looks like you're using a grappling hook, I guess,
Well,
or Spider Man.
I think I think the I played Fortnite for like a month for a while back, and there's a gun called the grappler, and it's a suction cup. I think that's why I called it the grappler. But okay, get that game out of the back of my head and inject Splatoon to cure me of that disease. But yeah, a good comparison. Yeah, it's like actually yeah, because the way the Inkling sticks to the wall, like he kind of hangs onto the wall, kind of like Spider-Man would, kind of like
Yeah,
that. Um,
yeah. And,
but go ahead.
and while like obviously like the Zipcaster was on two weapons, they both still really utilize that damn thing. Like it is scary when you when you see what they can do with it.
Yeah, I saw like well, I thought because it was on the Splatana, and what was the other one it was on?
No, no, it was actually on the Octobrush and the Luna Blaster.
Yeah, that's what because I used the Luna Oh, I think I used both of those. Well, I think that was my critique about the brush too because I was like, okay, you that's like a good like when you're using the way I saw it anyway is the the string caster the sling caster
The Zipcaster.
zip caster yeah so the zip caster the way it was used it seemed like you'd really want like that's a weapon strictly used for hunting a specific person down so you're like okay I gotta avoid him trying to shoot me but I gotta cling onto the wall, and then I gotta zip right to them and take them out, and then I go back to my spawn point. That's what that seemed like. Like if you wanted to take out a sniper that's hiding behind something, that's a good weapon to use. But they put it on the short ranged weapons, so you actually had to get up close if you wanted to, take someone out with it. Because I was like, okay, this could be devastating if they put it on like the Jet Scorcher or something. Because if you could, if you could reach him from or the 96 gal, probably worse. Because if you could reach him from even like I said 96 gal distance, that could be a devastating like thing. Because and the thing is,
Right.
it protects you too, because you go out to kill one person and then it bumps you right back to where you started. So
You can actually still die when you have that special going on. I had died while using it, so it's not like a complete protection, but it is possible that it can save you since you jump away immediately once once it runs out. So like you jump away and you're completely invincible during that jump
yeah, what I did
until you
notice
land.
is, speaking of protection, there's no ink armor, there's no bubbler. I think the closest thing to the ink armor is that shield that you throw out. What's it? What
The
is it
big
called?
bubble, the big bubbler.
That's what it's called, the big bubbler.
Yep, I'm not even joking.
Okay. Well, uh,
Like, and even then, the big bubbler is actually very tame because you can still walk through it and just shoot someone who's hiding in it. Like,
yeah,
you can
that's it.
literally do
Yeah,
that.
that's interesting too. I thought that was weird because it's like, okay, you can block. Basically, it works like you know how Gardevoir when you use Gardevoir in Smash, the Pokeball
Yeah,
Gardevoir,
right.
and it reflects
Exactly.
projectiles outside of the ring, but when you're inside the ring, it reflects them back into the ring. So it's
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what I felt like it was.
mhm.
And it's even shown like it doesn't protect you against like the reef slider, which can actually go through it pretty much.
Yeah.
But the reef slider will immediately just charge through that shield, and if you're stuck inside it and it explodes, you're dead.
I
Like,
think I used the stamp on it, and it broke it, which is the ultra stamp.
y- y-
I could
yeah,
be
you
wrong,
can
but
chuck.
yeah, but well, because I remember like going, I remember like I was using it. I was like, oh crap, I'm going through all these bombs. Like, I'm just plowing through the bombs, and then I thought I saw it might have been a toxic mist, but because it kind of has that same like design on it, but uh, it looked
Right,
like it was the big bubbler, but
right. The
but
big.
if that's the case that the stamp can just break it like that, I don't know. I've always thought
Like
the stamp was kind of broken, but it doesn't look like they fixed it. How broken it is, I don't know. But a lot of the
they
specials look
actually
broken
fixed
though.
a. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So speaking of the Ultra Stamp, they actually fixed a lot of its flaws that it had. Like
Hmm?
one of the biggest flaws it had was that it couldn't hit below sometimes if you were actually jump with the stamp. Now they
Oh
actually
yeah,
did fix that, so that was actually something they improved on. Though it's still like really hard to control while you're stamping,
yeah.
and like obviously you can still trade attacks with it, but it's like a lot easier to actually exploit it. Like once it actually goes, it has a hard time like pretty much just turning around direct behind. So like it has to finish that one stamp and out of that animation before you can go into squid form. So it's possible for it to actually be killed while it's doing stamp easier now. Like
Hmm.
and another thing that they did change, and this is something I've also noticed, is that like the throwing actually is a little bit quicker. Or
Hmm.
like throwing it is a little bit quicker from what I've seen.
Okay. Um. Whoops. Which is the one? That's the one. Okay. I was flipping through because I had to remember what my scene layout was for that thing. But okay.
I
Um.
see.
So on that note, what was that? Oh, I was gonna bring out up. There was another thing I noticed. Oh, I noticed a lot more people using the because I think I got killed a couple times with the Inkzuka. A lot of people really seem to
Oh
like that
yeah.
one coming back because I saw a ton of people
Yeah.
using that. Um,
Yes. the Trizuka is insane, but even though it's
It's-
on only one weapon right now, which is the Splatter Shot, I feel like that is just because there was actually a Splatter Shot with the Ingzuka back in Splatoon. It made sense.
Yeah, because I remember, for me, the Inkzuka, like everyone's talking about, oh, I hated the Kraken. I hated the Inkzuka. Like, well, and in particular because I used the Dynamo, like I was very easy to kill.
Ah.
I was very easy to kill with the Inkzuka. That was like the one thing everyone tried to target, like specifically
See.
if they had the Inkzuka, they're like, okay, Dynamo, I'm the one that's gonna have to kill the Dynamo because I got the Inkzuka.
Right.
Because I think the Dynamo had the Ink Strike and the Killer Whale. You know, two of them had the Killer Whale.
Ink Strike, Killer Whale, and I'm not sure what the last
Echolocator.
one
The
was.
other
I think
one
it was Echolocator.
Yeah. So, and Killer Whale was my favorite special in that game. Because I think that one. Honestly, I think Killer Whale might have been the most broken in that game because it didn't ink, so it was hard to see where it's coming unless you heard it. And especially,
Like, it was easy to see though.
in
Like,
port macro,
even though it had infinite range. Yeah.
I think the hardest stage would have been port macro to see it because of how narrow it was, and if you were in between, unless you saw above you, you couldn't see where the sound wave was coming from. Sometimes.
The rings actually did make it easier to see, and that was actually something they made a lot easier to.
Yeah, I will say
identify.
so. The like I said, the Killer Whale 5.1, like 5.1 surround sound. That one seemed it seemed like it worked similarly to the Tenna missiles, but like you shot it off at will. Like unlike the Tenna missiles where you have to pull it out and aim at everyone first and then shoot them. The Killer Whale 5.1, that one seemed like okay. You get one chance to target, but you can move it around, or you can basically aim at different ones as it's firing. Right? Is that kind of? It seemed like that's how it worked.
Like, yeah. So as someone pretty much who played the .52 Gal a ton in that demo, and had the experience with the Killer Whale, pretty much how it worked is that you activate it, but then you have to actually wait for it to fire itself. You could have to lock onto someone. It's going to try to target them. So, like, while you can technically target multiple people with it, it's only going to lock onto one person and for a little bit. And then after that, like, if you didn't lock onto anyone by the time it shoots off, you pretty much waste it. And that's actually how I was able, like, that's how I accidentally wasted it a couple of times. When I was actually firing at someone, then I turned around to retreat, and then it actually fired the way I did, and it fired pretty much the way I just turned around to retreat, and made me waste the special. So pretty much I had to face them.
It almost seemed like they tried. It seemed hard to aim, almost kind of, and I guess it's not that surprising because I think that's sort of what the Stingray from Splatoon 2 was like trying to replace the the Killer Whale, but it didn't quite achieve that goal because a lot of people had problems aiming it specifically, and it seems like the Killer Whale 5.1 is also harder to aim, but it seems like it's much easier to get a kill with than the Stingray. Even though it's not that easier, it still seems like easier to, I don't know, target somebody, you know.
So pretty much how the targeting works is just like it has like the global range thing, like a Tenta missiles, but only locks onto one person, and the actual firing of it actually would spread out. Like only two of them would try to lock onto it, while the others would just spread out into a general direction, trying to see like where they would go. That's literally how it worked, and it hardly got any kills, but that's fine. Like it's mostly meant to be an annoyance to the enemy, just so that way they can scatter a bit.
Yeah. That seemed like what most specials are, other than maybe, like I said, the Inkzuka, because that's a one-hit kill, I think. I think even I didn't see many people using the Inkjet. I think I might have seen maybe one or two.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of Inkzukas for sure. I saw a lot of Tentacoolers. I was surprised how many Tentacoolers I saw.
Tacticoolers were just extremely fun.
I keep saying Tentacoolers, which is weird because I actually be the one saying Tacticoolers.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, going to that, actually, I'll say as a person who plays like what most people would consider support weapons, because that's what the tacticaler is. It's a support weapon. But I tend to like play support weapons aggressively, where like even though I'm playing, a weapon that's supposed to be eking ground like crazy, uh, I usually use it to kill people with, and but even uh, it seemed like that combination in particular, and I think it came with the sprinkler too. So that one,
Yeah,
that
is
just
it?
means that weapon is like hand. That's like specifically that kit in particular is like specifically made for support. You want to use that for support, and you know quick defense. Like support, and if someone's coming up behind you, okay, quick splat. Okay, back to support. That's what it seemed like that one was dedicated mostly to. Because again, you used the sprinkler. And it seemed like all the specials. Um, maybe not every single one, but at least the ones I used, it seemed like most of them charged up a lot faster than in Splatoon 2. I don't know. Maybe it had to do, well, no, because there were no abilities that you could grind. So, uh, but it seemed like you know when you used the because I remember like there were a couple times where it was the ultra stamp. I used the ultra stamp, and then like 15 seconds later, I got it again, and I was like, this is a freaking like a very annoying special to be getting so quickly. And I'm not even using a spammy type weapon. I think I was using the oh, what did it come with? What was the weapon it was like assigned to? I think was it the Splatling? I'd have to
For the
for the ultra stamp.
like,
What was the ultra stamp on?
ultrasound was on Splatana.
Okay, yeah, because I can't see the Splatana as a quick inking weapon. It's not like the brush. Um, so either the points that you get, or I guess the amount of points you need to charge a special was low, or just all the weapons are quicker. Because I think there were a couple times where I thought the tacticaler came out too quick too, and I was like, whoa, is it just all the weapons come out quicker? I don't know. But whatever the case, it seemed I was fine with it because uh, at least when we were playing Tricolor Toad Battle, we were doing pretty well. I think once we
Yeah.
started doing the 4-on-4s, that's when we started getting the normal win-loss ratio. But
Yeah.
on the subject of the Tricolor Toad Battles, what was your impression on that when you first tried it?
Honestly, because we were both on pretty much one of the losing teams, which is Team Paper after and even though Team Paper got second, let's ignore that for now. Tricolor, I honestly think has a lot of potential, but there's one problem I seen and I kind of agree with it, is that the middle team kind of is pretty much screwed if one team gets the ultra signal. Once if they successfully get the ultra signal, well, they're pretty much screwed. It is very hard for them to come back from that.
Yeah, I definitely, even because I remember commenting on it too. We were like, I think we were the first match I played with Tricolor. It was you and me, and I'm assuming probably not everyone else. I'm sure there was a lot of people who were playing with other friends and stuff like that, but it's more likely that the teams of two were fully coordinated than it was likely for the teams of four to be fully coordinated, because they would need three other people to be in the same chat to be actually coordinating. So, assuming that maybe each team had two people coordinated on each team, but that gives the teams of two a clear advantage. Because I saw some like forums of like, man, it's unless you're in a chat room with all four players, the middle team's at a massive disadvantage. And yeah, because I think we won like 3 in a row or something like that. Like the first couple ones we played, tricolor. At least the first couple ones I played, tricolor. Yeah, three games in a row, and it seemed very easy. Like I kind of wondered when they showed it in the Splatoon Direct, like how like devastating is getting the Ultra Signal? Because I was like, okay, you get it, but how much does it do? You know, and it seemed like even if you got one of them and that's all you got, like you won, like you basically win the game. Um, unless both teams got one, then if the blue and yellow team got one, there's no way red's gonna win. You know, that just seemed because I don't think I played one game. Did we play one game where red won?
Nope, not one time. When we were playing Tricolor, red even won once. We were actually like it was either just our team or pretty much the blue, or pretty much Team Rock actually won. Not one time did we actually see Little Judd stand up during that. And show that red team won.
Because I was thinking about that too. Because and I'd seen I saw some other I guess discussion videos. One in Pro Game Explains like discussion video after that. All of them picked Team Scissors, so they all lost. But they brought up a question of how balancing could work, and it seemed like the biggest question for everyone is especially who was on Team Scissors, just seemed to be okay. This mode is fun, but it seems like it's it's just there to screw the winning team over. And actually, it almost seemed like, you know, as soon as the newscast that came up saying, okay, these are the current standings. Oh crap, I'm in the lead. We're screwed. That's what it seems like. Okay, so and the thing was, the numbers weren't that far apart. Like it would be different if it was like, you know, the blue team and the yellow team were at like 30%, and then the red team's at like 40%. That's like a much bigger difference. It was like a percentage, 1% off for each team. And I was like, okay, that means this is either going to be really bad for red or even worse for red. I can't see this being good.
Right.
Yeah. But I had I had sort of an idea of how they could balance that, but I'll go ahead and let you sort of give your idea on that too, as far as like.
Yeah, so like obviously Tricolor was definitely one of the coolest things they added, and it was really fun to play it. But the problem was just like once the Ultra Signal came out, it really does feel like there's no hope for red team after that. Like if it was like possible to at least stop the Ultra Signal itself after it came out for temporarily, like even if it like temporarily, and that the other team has to activate it again by just shooting it, like for both sides to just like activate it, that would be perfectly fine. Like I honestly don't mind it being permanent. Like that's one thing like I don't mind at all. Like as if it like if it was but like it's permanent is one thing. Like I don't mind, but the fact that we can't do anything to that permanent thing is a big problem, and that they definitely should turn that like into something like we need to damage it. Like it's possible. Like I also want to like damage the blue team's like Ultra Signal after they got it to at least have a shot at beating them. But no, that's not really what happened. Like we tried shooting it, nothing happens. Like it's completely invincible. And once they get it, like that's permanent. Like we cannot get rid of it at all.
Yeah, and if it's like how we did, where I think a couple matches we got both of them. We got both of the Ultra Signals, and that's like game over. Because I think it spawns one on your side, and it spawns one directly in the middle, and then there's nothing.
Yep.
And that seems like, especially when it spawns in the middle, where the winning team spawns, that seems like a huge disadvantage because then the middle has to go through that. The winning team has
Right.
to go through that in the middle.
Right, and like it's pretty much like that's just a huge like cutoff for them. Like they cannot go through that area without getting the risk of getting damaged.
Yeah.
Pretty much, like even if you have the big bubble or just
Hmm.
protects like stopping it, it doesn't do much at all. Like it will still break that thing quickly once it goes away, you're pretty much back to square one on trying to even just protect that area. But now there's a permanent an anchor there, so like, and you can't damage it at all. So like,
Hmm.
what do you do? Like, there's nothing. Like, there's pretty much nothing. Like, it's pretty much like a loss for the team in the middle.
Yeah, and like the actually with you talking about this right now, I had some like other ideas of like how they could sort of balance this, but honestly, with what you mentioned there, hey Nintendo, you should watch this so you can improve on this a little bit. Hey, the what they could do is make it so that only the red team can break them. But the blue team can't break the yellow teams, and the yellow team can't break the blue teams. Only the red team can break it. And when they break it, it creates like a red explosion. So it inks the ground a little bit. I think. Well, so it could give them a bit of, but it maybe takes like 10 hits or something like that. I don't know. It takes a little longer to break than a normal player would take to splat. But it would just give them sort of a way to, okay, disperse a little bit. And then maybe you can activate more than one or more than two. Um,
Right.
I thought maybe, okay, that's one way they could make it so that it's not permanently there, you know?
So like, I like the philosophy on that, but like another thing I also kind of want them to do, like just because like once like if it's possible for them to lose the ultra signal, then like I and and then there's no way for them to get it back. I think that would be like a bit too excessive because then that means like the middle team does have a better advantage. Like once that because once they get once the one of the teams gets the ultra signal and they got that giant explosion last second,
Hmm.
and like obviously and that's like they just get like that broken. Like I don't think like they should have it like permanently like
Oh,
broken. Like it should be possible for the team that got the ultra signal to
mhm.
actually fix it up by just shooting it again, and
One
kind of like in
thing,
Salmon Run.
yeah, one thing I did notice too, or I heard from another like streamer too. They said I didn't even notice this when we were using it, but every time someone grabs the ultra signal, it takes less time for it to activate. So, and
Right.
that's among every player. So, like, if one player gets it,
Oh.
it takes like 3 seconds, and then if someone on the other team grabs it after it's been like dropped, it takes like less time. So it takes less time every time it's grabbed, if it doesn't like
Oh,
complete.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So like, if it's grabbed like 5 times, the fifth time will only take like half a second to activate it. Yeah.
See, I thought like I didn't know. Now that's something I never noticed, but I thought like maybe like at first like I thought okay maybe it was just that like we got lucky with it.
Hmm.
Because like I remember a couple of our tricolor turf wars, we pretty much did have like a couple times where we tried to grab it and we got splatted, and the same thing happened to blue team. They got splatted, like, and then like the fifth time, for like when both teams tried to grab it, like it didn't do it. Like it felt like oh yeah, it definitely did get faster, but like
Yeah.
real, I think like it
Hmm.
just became easier to grab.
Yeah.
That well, like, I think it didn't help that like pretty much like big bubbler and splash wall would are a big help into protecting it as well.
Yeah. Um. Now, one thing I thought of to make it sort of because the way I think about the tricolor turf war is that I think the person or the team in the lead should have a initial advantage in the sense that okay, they're in the lead, they get kind of like how on Mario Kart when you win a race in Mario Kart online or offline, the next race you play, the person who finished in first starts in first, and the person who finished in
Right.
second starts in second. Kind of like that, where the team in first, and honestly, I don't think it would be that devastating. Honestly, basically they just switch the spawn points so that the team in first gets the wider range, gets the actual normal spawn points, and the two teams of two get the like the side spawn points. So they're at each other's throat a lot quicker than the red team is, and so the red team can cover a lot more ground quicker than the blue and yellow team can. Now that begs the question: okay, but that means the ultra signal is right in the middle, a lot closer for them to get um, the ultra signal. And what are the red teams going to do about that? Well, instead of making it so that the ultra signal is in the center, put the ultra signal near the red team's home base so that the other teams have to actually, you know, like kind of like a capture the flag sort of situation where the it's actually easier for the red team to defend because it's already on their side. But I guess you could kind of call probably in the same like area that the clam blitz basket would be. So that it's not
Yeah.
like super easy to get it, but it's not super difficult either. Um, and and we weren't on the red team. I didn't know if this is possible, but it'd be good. It'd be useful if people on the leading team could jump to either spawn point no matter what, or could choose which spawn point to respawn at when they die somehow. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I thought, okay,
Like,
go ahead.
oh, like I mean, because the spawn point don't pretty much how we get jump back into the map pretty much after we get splatted is literally just like we choose our location we want to go to
Yeah,
afterwards or jump to someone. I think and that would I think your idea definitely helps out a lot more than
yeah, because yeah, especially. Well, I'm just thinking, like minus the whole choosing where you spawn. I don't know about that necessarily. Like maybe if you die, you still spawn in your normal spot. But as far as actually jumping to spawn, like jumping to your spawn point, I think they could do something like that where because either way, the winning team has two spawn points, so they should be able to jump to either spawn point. The question is how they would be able to do that when the way you jump to spawn is by pushing like the four directions on the D-pad, um, and the bottom is always spawn, but there's two spawns. So I don't know. They could do something like maybe you just press trigger or something instead. Or what's does it? Isn't there like another whole button that's completely unused? Oh, A. Isn't A completely unused in battles?
in normal turf wars. Yeah, the only time A or L is used is to throw clams and clam blitzes, but that's literally it. That's all. That's the only time you ever use the A or L button.
Okay, and the L button, A and L button, they have the exact same function, right?
Yeah, in clam blitz, pretty much.
Okay, so problem solved. A is to jump to the other spawn. I don't know. I don't know. Or
Yeah.
if you're if you're the team in the lead. Another suggestion I heard is what if um, every 2 hours when the maps rotate, and I heard this from Game Explain's idea, video. What if every 2 hours when the maps rotate, they give an update on the standings so that the new team in the lead, is the team in the middle?
Oh wait, hold on a second. Go back. I just realized the A button is actually used in normal battles, regardless. It's just actually used once you pull up the map and you just press the person
Oh
super jumps
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
press A.
yeah. You press A.
I
Yeah,
forgot.
that's
So
right.
like, it's the L button pretty much is the only one that is pretty much useless. It's
Okay,
like
well, replace what I said with the A button. I don't know. Well,
yeah,
I guess the clicking the left stick too. Um, because
yeah, that's true.
but I mean that one's not as like easily like that's not a button everyone thinks about, especially in Splatoon when it's never been used. But back to what I was saying, I think yeah, when the maps rotate every 2 hours, they give you an updated, you know, I guess along with the maps, they give you an update of where all the teams are. Because obviously, with the middle team being, you know, in the middle and being at a huge disadvantage, they're going to be knocked down a peg, you know, after an hour or so. Or probably even quicker than that. Probably within, because I remember like looking on some like Splatoon related forums and like everybody on the red team was complaining. Like I didn't even in the I think I saw some like of the like the posts that you can make, the like Miiverse looking
Yeah.
posts. I think I saw some people like complaining about that in the Miiverse posts. Like, man, red team is, you know, having a problem. Or you know, Team
Yeah.
Scissors is, you know, messing up here. But I was like, okay, well, why don't they just rotate the and that way, like say, you know, yellow team got the lead, so next 2 hours, yellow team is going to be in the middle. Okay, and then you know it just keeps going until the end of the Splatfest. Um,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah, but like another thing about Tricolor is that like it's supposed to, it definitely looked like it was really balanced out, or like when we saw like the trailers, because like
Mm-hmm.
obviously there are two members on each team on the other side, and the middle team is in a pincer trap with four people, so they have to actually figure out how they're gonna actually like win this battle when there's two teams attacking them, and yet they're in a pincer trap pretty much. That's what like my philosophy is, but then like and it felt more fair, but like actually playing it,
Mm-hmm.
it's very clear that the middle team has a lot more disadvantages than advantages.
Yeah, and honestly, I think perhaps maybe they could. I think this will be my last sort of idea of maybe how they could fix it. They could make it so that there's actually three possible what times to get an ultra signal among all three teams. The leading team can get one, but the two opposing teams can get either of them. Like basically, the red team can get, or you know, the leading team can get
Yeah.
one, so that they can get like a quick advantage. But the other two teams can get two, or one each, and but if so that would give the red team, or I keep saying red, the winning the leading team the ability to still get one and get a good advantage. Um, and I guess it would spawn theirs directly in the middle, and say the like team rock or team paper were to get two of the ultra signals, it would put them on the outer edges of the map, like where they spawned on either side
Right.
already. Like maybe they could do that where, you know, it's easier for red to get like one kind of quick advantage, but they can still get over, you know, they still have to defend the third one, or, you know, defend it again, but they still get, you know, okay, now the blue and yellow team still have to watch out because now there's a now they have
Right.
something that forever sprinkles ink all over the place. That's the last thing I can think of that might balance it, but I don't know. Uh, but hey, Nintendo, watch this. We got ideas here. I'm joking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But before you
And
copyright strike this video, I don't know. I didn't put any background music, so we should be fine.
yeah, like another thing about Tricolor and that I'm really like disappointed in is that like even though like obviously it's a demo and I'm gonna have to cut it some slack because there's like only one map for it right now. I really wish that they actually did show off more Like I wish they at least had 2 different maps, because that was like one of the more disappointing parts for me personally. Because like
Mhm.
I just wanted to play through the tri. Like I wanted to play tricolor, yeah, but then like obviously it's just one right now one map, and it's the same one map that was shown off in the trailer. So like if
Yeah,
anything, I go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, I thought that was weird too, because I was like, I don't think, other than the shifty state, like I'm assuming that's their replacement for the shifty station. If there's not going to be a
Right.
shifty station, then that's going to be the station, the constant map. But at the same time, it's like, okay, we yeah, I would have liked, because honestly, Sturgeon Shipyard, it's a fun stage, but it's not the stage I think of when thinking, oh, a Splatoon stage. What is the Splatoon stage that everyone thinks of? At least from
Right.
Splatoon. I think Splatoon 1, it's probably Moray Towers, or like or Urchin Underpass. I think that's like the, well, that's like the
Yeah.
original Splatoon stage. But like everyone either loves or hates Moray Towers, and then
Yeah.
from Splatoon 2, probably it's like, um, I'd say the reef, but the reef is too close to. It's very similar to Urchin Underpass and kind of the way it works, but probably like, oh, what is it? Not Humpback, although Humpback is probably my favorite stage. Um,
Well,
what is the? I'm trying to think. What were the first
what's
5
the Forge
stages?
Fitness?
Muscle Forge. Yeah, I thought, I always thought like either Muscle Forge or maybe Humpback is like the premier stage of Splatoon. I don't know.
Well,
Uh,
for me, I think it would probably be like Inkblot Art Academy,
Heart Academy is good too. Yeah.
or was it? Yeah, like Schellendorf Institute is not the one. Like that's the one with the glass pane, isn't it? Like Schellendorf,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
Schellendorf is,
sure.
yeah. Because I'm
Yeah,
thinking
so
like
like Inkblot Art,
like
yeah,
the
like
first
to
5
me, Inkblot
stages.
Art Academy would be the first, like the one that I
Yeah,
think of
premier
when I
stage.
think of Splatoon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I think that one too was like kind of the first one that kind of looked the most different in Splatoon 2. Because like all the other ones were kind of like, minus again, maybe I guess minus again Humpback, because Humpback was like, in my opinion, that one was just like very different compared to like Splatoon 1, which a lot of those maps were very blocky in the sense that, there wasn't really any humps other than like uh, Black Belly Skate Park. But yeah, I could agree with Inkblot Art Academy, because I'm trying to think of, because there were 5 stages, like 5 new stages and like a couple of returning stages in Splatoon 2 when it first came out. But I'm trying to think of what the 5th stage was. It was like, it was the Reef, it was Humpback Pump Track, it was Inkblot Art Academy, Muscle Forge, and there was a 5th one. I'm forgetting. Uh,
like, I don't remember the fifth one either.
I think
So
I
I
think
need to
I
look that up.
I think I got, because I remember taking pictures of all these for
Yeah.
let me see.
Oh, it was Sturgeon Ship. It was Sturgeon Shipyard.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, Starfish main stage as well.
Starfish. That's the one I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yes.
That's the one I
So like
forgot
the
of.
Reef, Muscle Forge, Starfish, Humpback Pump Track, Inkblot Art Academy, and Sturgeon Shipyard were all on release.
Okay. I think they revealed Sturgeon Shipyard in the Splatoon 2 direct. I think that's why. I because they it wasn't in the um like test fires, because I remember like specifically
Like,
talking about those during the test fires. But
yeah, I
okay.
remember that. Well,
But okay. But still, yeah. Back to your point about like, yeah, there only being one stage, and that's like the only. Well, I guess it was only half the day, right? Because Tricolor didn't start
yeah,
until halfway through the um,
yeah. Like,
day.
but
But
then like
still,
that's enough for like I think like 3 rotations, and that's it. Like even though
well,
it's just one map.
and you got
Like,
to think too. If you were the red team, that's all you played, because the red team could only play Tricolor halfway through.
no, it turns out like we were wrong about that. They can
Well,
actually choose to go queue up for tricolor or regular. Right? It was just like because our team, like since we were on team paper, right? We had only 17% of the player
That's
base
true.
in there, so we actually had. So it was very likely for us to find like
It was
Team Rock members or Team Scissor members instead of running into other paper players.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was much more likely to, yeah, I guess, run into, especially rock players too. Yeah, that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, yeah, that made sense. Yeah, because I guess basically, like, um, yeah, but in that, I was gonna say if that was the case, then yeah, they really need, like, if they were to make, if they were if they actually did that where the team scissors had to be in the you know losing or in the tricolor turf war for the rest of the game, yeah, that would have been sucky, for even more sucky for team scissors. But okay, it's not exactly what we thought. But even still, yeah, it, even if they did just two stages, but at random, like any other battle, but even
Yeah.
if they just kept two stages throughout the whole half of the day for tricolor, that would have been more tolerable, I guess. Because like right now,
Yeah.
it's uh, and the only thing I can think of for why it's like that is like maybe it just takes a little bit longer development time to actually make it three-player friendly, or three-team friendly. But it's like, okay,
Right.
uh, something tells me that they kind of already have these stages made that way in game, or in the code of the game already. Um,
Right.
Maybe they don't. And I'm just talking out of my ass
Yeah.
here, but
Yeah, so like the one map I'm really hoping that they actually fix this for Tricolor is Mahi Mahi because that
yeah,
actually has the best potential for it. Like straight up, like I'm not even gonna like I'm not capping about this, but I am actually dead serious. Like when I say like that, if they actually bring in Mahi Mahi Resort to how it like was in Splatoon 1, I think it
hmm
has the best potential for being like a very very balanced Tricolor turf war map.
yeah, I could see that because of the alleyways. If they had the alleyways, right, in that, and
Yeah.
it kind of goes for really any stage with alley, because I'm thinking like, okay, what is it going to look like with Floundry Heights, because we know that's coming back, and Flounder Heights has it's like, it's not, you don't spawn on the corners of the maps, you spawn like right in the middle on opposite
Right.
sides of the map.
Dead center.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I guess the middle team would spawn dead center on the sides of the map. So I'm like, okay, that one's
Yeah.
that
So I
might
guess like
actually that might actually give an advantage to the winning team, because they're already on the upper. They'd already be on the upper
yeah.
levels.
So they have a high ground, and that pretty much like snipers would probably have an easier time with them.
Yeah,
So I think that would be
but yeah, I guess it depends on the stage and just how much foresight, because I'm assuming they probably didn't even realize like how devastating that mode would be for the team in the lead, because I don't know if we
like
saw the, like, what the percentage was at the end, between you know rock paper and scissors, how much lower was red versus blue and yellow.
right. I saw that. Like it was It was like extremely high, like of a gap.
Yeah, because I
Like
think they were in the 20s, I think, by the end of it, and both the other teams were in the high 30s. It was
yeah,
crazy. But yeah, that was, yeah, because yellow came in second, I think, right? It
yeah.
was,
Yellow came second.
yeah, but yeah, that's something. However you do it, Nintendo, you know, take take everybody, because there's a ton of other, uh, you know, channels probably coming up with a lot of the same ideas that, or having the same sort of criticisms that we're having. Really focus on that, and they got a whole month. or whenever the next Splatfest is coming out. They got a while
Yeah.
to sort of fix that system. But I think it's going to be hard to balance. But I feel like if they get that balance like really well, that could honestly be like a not a ranked mode per se, but like say once all the Splatfests are done, like the Tricolor Turf Wars could be like a mode that, because a lot of the sort of competitive Splatoon community look at Turf War as, oh well, it's it's regular battle for a reason. It's
Yeah.
it's not as skill based as the other modes are. But Tricolor Turf War seems a lot more skill based than even, like, it seems like it's about as close as it can get to skill base, minus the like ultra signal stuff. But I mean, a lot of I think it's a MacGuffin. You get the MacGuffin in the middle and you win, or you get
Yeah.
an advantage. But I mean, that's kind of what some of the things in Splatoon or in the rank modes are. I don't know. I just thought, oh, that could be an interesting like mix up to some like rank battle parties or something like that. I don't know. Like, but that seems like something, because they at the end of like Splatoon 2, once they were done with all the Splatfests, you could do Splatfests in private battles. So I'm assuming like
Right.
once all the Splatfests are over here, you can probably do tricolor turf battles, in a private battle. Once, I don't know.
I really do hope for that, but at the same time, like it's gonna feel like it's gonna take forever. And by the time like
Yeah.
or turf war or would be in like private battles, I kind of hope for it to be like right there right off the bat, like, and that they
Hmm.
update it like much how they update the game in general later on down the road.
Yeah. And they could do it like maybe once the first one comes out, then it's like, oh, okay, now that everybody that has the game has experienced this mode, you can try it for yourself, but you can only do it in private battles. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there too. Like, yeah, I love it for it to be like that, where you could do tricolor turf wars at any point. So, yeah. Um, now, honestly, trying to think of like anything else to talk about, because we kind of we talked extensively about the weapons, and especially tricolor turf war. Um, you got anything else like in particular to?
Yeah, so I actually kind of want to talk about some of my problems while actually playing the game. Like, not like anything like I have personally against it, like while playing it, I'm saying. So,
All
like,
right.
one of the biggest issues was came up, and this is when we were like explaining ourselves, is that like we had so many issues trying to even like connect and just set
Connection.
up for
Yeah.
ourselves to play. Yeah, so like it was like really difficult. Like when we actually had like trying to matchmake, like try like for the matchmaking, like after like
Hmm.
obviously like when we were just trying to even queue up for games, like it was a bit of a problem because sometimes we would just randomly disconnect and like it was just only like one of us, and then pretty much we had to find. And that we couldn't actually get the other person back in. Like we had to actually like just go play through with the surfboard.
Yes. Hmm. Oh
With
yeah,
up
yeah.
to like some random substitutes. So pretty much that was the issue we had.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about that too, because once again, in some of the other sort of discussion videos I watched on this, yeah, that's probably was brought up more than the tricolor issue, because the tricolor, a lot of people were like, okay, like that seems like something that eventually Nintendo will probably get balanced well, because it's part of the actual core game mechanics. But we all know how Nintendo is with actually fixing quality of life issues in their games. Like, because we still don't have delay based netcode in Smash. you know,
What we still do have the weight based netcode in
or
Smash.
no,
It's
no, the other,
rollback.
yeah, rollback. We still don't have rollback in Smash. That's what I meant. Yeah, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we know how Nintendo is with fixing quality of life. It took them how long did it take for them to put the ability to change your weapon in Splatoon 2? Because I remember the Splatoon 2 released.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the same thing. Like I think that was like I think 3 months after. Like
yeah,
I think it
yeah,
was 3 months. Like I
yeah.
don't remember exactly when they did this, but it took a while.
Was it with the? Because I think it came with like a major update. Was it the
Yeah, it
Clan Blitz
did.
update?
I think so. I don't remember exactly when
Because
did they do this. I need to look that up
because that's when they
I
added
don't
the
remember.
like the new music and Clan Blitz, and they added a couple new. They added Schellendorf Institute, and the other one, the one where you're under the highway. The oh shoot, what was that one called? Or
Right.
the, the I don't know, some like I don't know what the stage was called, but they added two stages. They added the new mode, and they added the new music. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, you couldn't change your weapons until then, and like basically it took them 3 months after the game was already out for them to even do that,
Wait,
and
hold
you
on. When
still
did the
can't
game
do it.
come out again? Hold on. When did the game come out? I need to look that up.
It
Hold on.
was it was July
Right.
something. It's 2017. I think it was like late, like
July 2017. Yeah, then that took a while. Oh, geez, that is
yeah.
definitely a lot.
Oh, when
Like 3 months just to update the game so we could just change our weapons
yeah,
while after playing once. That is like absurd.
yeah, yeah. That's and and the thing is, that wasn't even the major complaint. Because really, you can change your weapons, but once you pick the weapon that you changed, you can't change it while you're practicing, right? That's another thing. It's like okay, because I
But I
thought
mean, that's like,
that
like
that
that's something that's fine.
that's doable. Okay, yeah, you picked your weapon, you clicked okay, I'm good with this weapon. All right, that makes sense. Then you're stuck training with that weapon. I feel like that might be something. I can see why they wouldn't make that. They wouldn't change that because I could see. Oh well, you picked your weapon and now um, you don't want to. Because they might even. It seemed like they were kind of choosing the team because you remember seeing where when they put the teams. Well, I guess when the match was starting and you saw the teams on both sides and you saw their like
Right.
intro animations. It put like a little title for their for the team, like oh this is a defensive team or like this is a shooter aficionado team or whatever they named it.
Yeah.
But so maybe like they actually lock those names in once everyone picks their weapons or something like that. So that's why you can't change them while you're practicing. But the other thing you brought up where people get disconnects, and I think one of the things that we were noticing with the disconnects was sort of what we were noticing too, or you can't exit, um, like
Yeah, you can't exit the lobby.
yeah
Wait.
after you hit yes, there's no hey wait no I didn't mean yes I meant no. You couldn't do that. The only way you could
Yeah.
leave is if you pressed home or again if you had a disconnect. And I would say 90% of them disconnects was probably from people leaving because they thought, oh, I thought I could leave, but no, you had to click no if you wanted to leave. You couldn't like hit yes
Right.
and change your mind, you know. So I think that was the
Right.
majority of the disconnect because I don't remember really any disconnects while we were playing the game.
Yeah, like that only happened like once, and that was
Hmm.
literally just a hiccup in your internet, from what I recall. Like that was just like a small hiccup in your internet, and that was the only time we ever had an issue. Like it wasn't even like the fault of the game either. Like
Yeah,
it was just like that one time, and that was it. Like everything else, like it was perfectly fine. Like it was playable completely.
yeah,
Like there was no issues at all with like people teleporting or all that.
yeah, yeah. This seemed like the most stable of the Splatoon games in the sense of like because I even remember seeing some like weird things like in Splatoon 2's test fires and stuff where people would all of a sudden appear out of nowhere somewhere else. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I didn't see any of that, and it seemed like Nintendo had a better grasp of their servers this time because, like, especially with Splatoon 2, because I would assume with Splatoon 2 they probably didn't even know how massive an IP Splatoon got because they're probably thinking, oh, the Wii U, it was on the Wii U, it sold like only a couple million units because the Wii U sucked, but the Wii U didn't sell well. We'll just say that. Uh, but they didn't realize like, oh no, Splatoon is big. Splatoon's gonna be big, and the servers like once they get this, they probably like had no idea how many people actually wanted to play Splatoon 2. Because I can remember um, uh, quite, I could remember the like quite a few more disconnects in Splatoon 2, like the demos and stuff, especially before
Right.
this game. Like, other than because I think the only disconnects we had, or at least that I had, were in the lobbies. Once the games actually started, I don't remember any disconnects. Like you said, except maybe one time. But that seemed
Yeah.
like it was just like you said, like a internet hiccup. It wasn't really, it didn't really have to do with like Nintendo's servers or anything like that. Like it seems stable,
Yeah.
very stable.
Yeah, and the fact that like we also pretty much hardly ever and that like it was just only when we were queuing up is issues. Like I think that actual was that's a lot more tolerable, and the fact that like also like
Hmm.
if we actually did have a disconnect early on in the game actually will kick everyone out and just like count the loss only for the player who got disconnected, pretty much. Like
Yes,
no one else gets affected.
I will say though I did notice, and this again is sort of the critique about like the problem with not being able to exit the lobby once you like clicked yes, I want to battle again. Like, because I think that's a major problem. When it happened when I think I had waited too long. I waited too long to like hit yes, and so we got separated into different lobbies. And so
Right.
you were in a battle already, and I was like, oh crap. Well, let me back out, or let me hit the home button and wait in the home button for 15 seconds, and
Right.
time my connection out. And so like it disconnected me, but once I reconnected, it said, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or it gave me the penalty, and I was like, the regular, the penalty you get for
Yeah.
disconnecting, and I was like, the penalty? I wasn't in a game. I was in the lobby. So what I'm thinking is it counts when you're in the lobby as actually being in the game, which that I think I don't know that maybe that was just a Splatfest thing where they just want they're trying to like speed everyone through their matches and stuff. But if that's something that happens in the actual game, and if you like disconnect, because even in Splatoon 1 and 2, if you disconnect while the loading, while the
Yeah, like while the game's loading, pretty much
yeah.
nothing really got affected because it's just an issue with your connection, and that it just wants to warn you that hey, you might want to check to see if it really is an internet connection. We're not going to let you play until like you get this either resolved or it's actually like more stable.
Well, yeah. So like in Splatoon 2, if you like say you turned off the game while you were in not the loading screen, but when players are joining in and you see the names pop up,
Right.
you could leave in that during that and it not affect you. Because I could I probably can't count. I wouldn't remember anyway, but like I couldn't count the number of times I've done that, and I haven't gotten any problems. But it seemed like that it it does that like while I'm training. Like say while you're in the training room and you've already selected, oh, I want to play the next match. If you leave
Yeah.
during while you're in the training room, that counts toward you know, your penalty, connection penalty or whatever. And I'm like, ooh, they might need to fix that a little bit. I don't know. I guess it depends on how easy it is for people to like join back in the queue once people leave. Um, but because you can't leave the room once you've already chosen, yes, I'm going to join the next battle. It's like you signed
Right.
a contract. Yes, sign your name here, because if you leave if you leave after you hit yes, you're fired. That's what that seemed like. It was a you're signing a contract. But yeah, other than that, and like the small little, because I think the actual disconnects, like I said, just happened in the waiting room, and everything else
Yeah.
as far as the game itself was butter smooth. Really, speaking of butter smooth, frame rate seemed like a locked 60 frames per second. That was good. Um,
Yeah. It definitely was super consistent, and like I didn't notice any hiccups at all while
yeah,
playing.
and on that note too, the I as I was playing, especially in the hub world, now I'd have to kind of look through Splatoon 2 again. But the hub world in Splatoon 2 is much smaller, obviously. So I don't
Right.
know I don't know how the pop in is for Splatoon 2, because I was noticing in Splatoon 3, as far as the by pop in I mean like when you're too far away from like a character model, once you get close enough to it, it pops in. Uh, it was very close, like maybe it's hard to like judge distance from how we're looking, but well, it's not that far, because I remember specifically there was like one of the jellyfish characters. It wasn't that far away from me, but I remember just popping in as I was walking forward, and I was like, ooh, they definitely. It seemed like they 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 put almost a ton of resources into the gameplay. They really tried to get the gameplay as like butter smooth as possible, and I guess devoted a lot of their resources and memory to like a lot of the other mechanics in the game. Like we said, the training room, and
Right.
probably even like the little card game that we didn't get to see, but I'm sure it's the coding and stuff for the card game is probably somewhere in the demo. Um,
Right.
but like that's a lot of resources, and just the fact that the hub world's so huge. They had to probably spend a lot of time putting their resources into that, and that took away from the the pop in distance and the frame rate in the hub world. I think it's always been where the hub world's always 30 frames per second, and the gameplay, you know, in battles and stuff is 60. But
Right.
but like when you're like too far away from some of the NPC inklings and the jellyfish and stuff, the frame rate goes from like 30 frames per second to like 20, 10 the farther you get away. And I was like, okay, they really had to cut some corners to make this game look as good as it did. So, but it made sense because of how late, like we're seven, no, we're 5 years into the Switch's life cycle. So like they're focusing more on how to make games feel bigger than how to make games look, you know, immaculate or whatever. And the game looks great. It looks as good, if not better, than Splatoon 2. It's just like a few
Right.
little hiccups here and there, but I think it's doable. Um, I don't I don't know if I don't know, did you take any note of that, of just like the visual style
Like
presentation of it?
visual, like the style of it definitely fits like really well with what they're going for with the chaos theme. But like after out, well, like Team Chaos won the last Splatfest, and that was going to be how the game is themed around. Like I love how it looks, and that also pretty much like they did a lot of changes for the simple things. Like obviously the animations for how the characters would be running, they definitely changed that as well. Like I was not just expecting that. Like it definitely feels a lot more. Well,
Hmm.
definitely feels really nice.
Yeah, even just like little things like the sort of like dancing animations that the that the Inklings were doing, like in the lobby. They added more like sort of like animation cycles um, to things that they do in the lobby. I thought it was I thought this was funny even in the Splatoon 2 direct, but I find it kind of funny how in Splatoon 2 all the squids or all the Inklings are using cell phones, like actual like they look like I guess squid shaped iPhones and stuff. But now we're back to using flip phones. Like, how do we regress to using flip phones? And you
Right, the
see and you
C cucumber phones.
yeah, and you see one of the Inklings. I saw one of the Inklings like standing on the um like rail and like
Yeah,
TikToking or something, or, live streaming or something from the flip phone. And I'm like, okay, if that's how you think flip phones, if you think flip phones are, if that's how you think they work, then okay. But that's just a. I guess that's what happens when chaos takes over, technology regresses. so, I mean, yeah. But as far as like what I did like how I think I even said this too the hub world because it's so
right.
big. I'd say it's probably like three times the size of all of both the original two. And
Yeah,
not only is it like wide, it's also there's a lot of verticality. Like you can go up these like balconies and there's a lot of places you can go up and down and stuff. There's even a whole little courtyard. I thought, wow, like whoa, there's a courtyard here. They got enough space in here to do that. Like okay, and it looked like you could sort of tell where because I think you mentioned like they might have. I was looking at your stream again the other day, and it looked like they might. There's like an obvious place where they would put either the DLC or the salmon run, something like that. But
right.
mhm.
Yeah. The hub world definitely is a lot larger. I'm really looking forward to seeing like where everything would be placed because like obviously we got to see where the shops are at, but then like pretty much like we didn't see where would the salmon run be or like how like what else like and we like pretty much the only thing we didn't see was just salmon run's location.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah, and actually,
Like
I did notice where it took me a little bit to find it, but where the single player like the little manhole that you go down in where the single player was. But speaking of that, I heard from somebody, or I saw on that because I was concerned too when I saw um, the the Splatoon Direct. I was like, okay, I'm seeing a lot of like levels that look kind of like Splatoon 2's levels. I was like, oh, is this just going to be a regular, normal, Splatoon 1, Splatoon 2 single player? And no. Apparently, from, what I'm hearing from, I, you know, a lot of sources, like, no, this is going to be um, an actual story mode that you don't want to get spoiled on. I'm like, okay, okay. If we're getting like actual, they're probably not going to be like fully voice acted cutscenes, but they're going to be like they're going to be cutscenes. Then that'll be cool. Like just to see and there was a little bit of that. Like you could sort of tell that they were going to put cutscenes in the direct, but it wasn't like obvious.
right.
But because I mean, technically, there's like two cutscenes in this, Splatoon 2, but it's like right in the beginning and then at the very end, you know. But even the Octo expansion was kind of like that, where there's the cutscene when you first enter the the train, and then I think there's one sort of like half cutscene when you're first encountering the thing, or what is it, the what's the thing called, the phone, the ancient phone or whatever.
Oh, I like you mean Commander Tartar? Or that was his
Yes,
real name, but I don't. I'm pretty sure it was just referred to as the phone.
the phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that was like, I think that was like one of the other cutscenes, and I think the final boss was its own cutscene. I think that was it. Unless wasn't the like the stage leading up to the final boss? Because it that I remember that being like a whole obstacle course that you had to go through, basically, before you got
Wait,
to the
what
final
is
boss.
it? Which one?
It was
The
like one
final.
of it was like one of the last stages in the Octo expansion. That was like it
Oh,
was
the
base.
spinal phase. You mean
I think so. It was like a pretty elaborate like puzzle or obstacle course from what I remember, of sorts.
an obstacle
Like
course?
it
Um,
like there was a lot you had to do to get to the end of that, basically. Uh,
yeah, like there was the one where you had to guide it to like guide a platform to the end, like just defend the orb, pretty much.
yeah,
It was
but anyway, like I basically I'm just saying, yeah. Um, if the like I'm excited. I'm actually excited for this like story mode. If because like in Splatoon 2, I just like, okay, I played the story mode just to get the dynamo roller, but now
oh yeah.
if the dynamo rollers unlocked from the beginning, then I was thinking, well, shoot, maybe I won't play the story mode. But it looks like the story mode is going to be a good story mode, and the reward for playing the story mode is just a good ending, or just the fun of playing the game. And I'm just like, okay, I like where this is going. And honestly, just because Callie and Marie are are in the story mode, that's, I don't know, make makes me wonder if they're gonna do anything story, like, obviously I think the DLC is probably going to be Marina and Pearl. But do you think they'll do any sort of story related thing for the new idols? Fry, Shiver, and Big Man.
I personally really hope so because I what like I just like obviously they did the same thing with Pearl and Marina, like that was like some DLC content for later, which was Octo expansion where we got to see like and interact with them more. But
Hmm.
it's like I feel like they're just placed in there just for the sake of having idols in the game. Like there's like I'm still like biased towards Callie and Marie personally more because we actually had more involved. We got more involved with them, and like it's not because like oh like they're like the first characters for like this original Splatoon. Like no, I'm referring to like actually like what did they represent like in the actual game itself, other than just being like oh idols and just mentioning like what the news is. Like we actually get to interact with them, seeing like oh they're agents like they're pretty much agents of the
Hmm.
Squid Beak Splatoon, and that we are getting and that we get to pretty much interact with them and help them out more.
Yeah,
Like it was subtle, but still something better than like nothing else.
yeah, because basically up until the Octo expansion, they were just kind of there, and I even took note of that in like Splatoon 2. I was like, okay, these are they look cool, the character designs, they look cool, but there's nothing to them. There's no story mode. They didn't put them in the story. I thought that's what they were gonna do. Even though, even with like when Splatoon 2 was like first coming out, they were all talking about, there was like it was on like the Splatoon website or something, where it was like little tidbits of sort of how the story went after the end of Splatoon 2, where, you know, Callie and Marie were like off doing their own thing, which eventually led up to what happened in the story mode of Splatoon 2, where, oh, now Callie is freaking, abducted or whatever, or, mind control or whatever, and then Marie's on a quest to save Callie or whatever. So, okay, that makes me think, okay, so that's not what's going to be happening here. It's actually going to be a a very fleshed out story, and with I guess Fry and uh, Big Man and Shiver, um, most likely they're not going to have an especially if they're teasing Marina and Pearl as Octo expansion. Are they going to have any involvement with like DLC or story mode? Probably or probably not. I don't know. Like, would they somehow find a way to like incorporate them with the upcoming DLC, or would they be their own DLC pack? Like they'd have two expansion passes or whatever for um, like an Octo expansion and a deep cut expansion. I don't know. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
question I have as far as the you know the story mode extra add-on content and stuff. If they do that, I mean, they kind of already have a precedent for it. They did that with Smash. They had two fighter passes, and then with Mario
Yeah.
Kart, they have a freaking 2 year expansion. Going on. So
Right.
I could see them doing that. Just
And well, oh, go ahead.
oh no. I'm pretty much done with that. You know.
Okay. Well, another thing I kind of want to like go over is just like some hopes for the game like coming out in the
Hmm.
future, other than like just what we were talking about. Like personally, like one thing I did write down on what I was hoping for is like there's at least four variants of each weapon, like in Splatoon. Like there's four different splatter shots, there's four different splat chargers, like variants of like four variants of each weapon, pretty
Oh,
much.
you
Like
mean like
because
not specifically. Oh, so by splat chargers you mean like actual, like not, because I know there's not weapon types, but the actual individual weapons.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
Because that's something I personally want. 'Cause, like, I don't want like like there's like the carbon roller here has only two variants you could pick from, and you can't
Yes.
and then
Hmm.
then there's other weapons like that have three variants. Like that just feels like something unfair for people who don't really like certain combinations. Like I know
Yeah.
for a fact that like some people really want the Dapple Dualies, like they
Hmm.
want to play the Dapple Dualies or like the Dark Tetra Dualies, but then like the kit it has sucks, and that it turns people off from those weapons pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't even like how it was. So like, if there was like a third variant of those weapons or a
Yeah.
fourth variant of those weapons, that would be like at least giving them hope that maybe like one of those four kits, there's something for them to enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, that was another thing I saw like brought up in another, you know, Splatoon 3 or Octa Splatfest World Premiere related video was a lot of people were bringing up the fact that honestly, there's really no reason anymore. I mean, it made sense with Splatoon 1 and 2 because it was their first time, really going deep into the shooter genre outside of like Metroid, which wasn't a multiplayer game. Um,
Right.
is their first foray into a multiplayer shooter. They weren't really used to sort of they didn't even know how well the balancing would be for some of the weapons until 5 to 7 years later. But now there's really no reason for them to not just let people pick their whatever weapons they want to use. And by that I mean like free kits, no kits, like actual picking a main, picking a sub, picking a special. Um, like some people would say, like, yeah, that could lead to a lot of even more weapons being overshadowed, but I personally disagree because at least in meta play, like there's really only like maybe 20 to 30 kits out of, I think there's like 60 to 70 full like kits in Splatoon 2 that
Right.
and like almost 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 like 50 kits, 40 to 50 kits aren't even used in like the top echelons of play and stuff, even among
Right.
like just regular online play, they're not used that much. And doing
Right.
a
Like
just pick your weapon. I can see how balancing could be an issue that way, but maybe not. I don't know. I
I've
think.
seen the argument of. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna wait until you finish. So.
Yeah, so like I've seen the argument of people like saying like they should like Splatoon should instead of doing weapon kits they should do like free customization on like picking like your main weapon, your sub weapon, and your special weapon. But like I'm personally like on like more of the kit like the game has kits for us because I don't really want to deal with something like super obnoxious. Like already like with the point 52 gal and splash wall, that's already a really really annoying combination for people to already play against. Now the fact that we can pick any like that like I'm gonna be able to pick my special weapon as well, like just so that way like it's like probably one of those invincibility specials like either the reef slider something along like something even more annoying than like the Killer Whale 5.1. Like it is straight up going to be like the most annoying thing to try to even kill, and I think
Yeah.
it's going to ruin the balance of the game because they can't really take away what makes Point 52 good because otherwise the weapon is just going to be pretty much overshadowed by the regular splatter shot. But
No.
they also can't really do much like with changing how the weapon works because then also it doesn't feel like it's not like going to feel like the same weapon, but more like it's just you just trying to at least nuke those weapons to like makes it feel different, and it's not going to work out. And
Yeah, because I could
like
see like if there's a really like devastating sort of special, and that goes like I'm gonna sort of think on Splatoon 2 standards here, but say the Splat Charger had something like the Ten missiles, where
right,
instead of the Stingray, it had the Ten missiles, where or say the Splat Charger could choose between could choose the Ten missiles, and I'm trying to think of like a really sort of annoying sub. Probably
like
probably
splash wall would make it annoying as well. Still,
it there's already a variant with the splash wall, but I'm trying to think of like
yeah,
probably the auto bomb. I don't know, something where
I
just
don't think auto.
yeah, it auto bombs are very because the blast radius is so tiny on those, but specifically the Ten missiles, like if a charger could, especially at E-liter, because E-liter already has long enough range as it is, but then if they could if they could pick, um, and especially in like the higher levels of play, that if there's somebody, if there's S plus if there's somebody in S plus rank using a charger, they're probably really good with that charger, and they also get a 10 of missiles as well. That's like 10 times more annoying. So it's like I can see why they
Yeah,
wouldn't do that.
yeah,
But at the same time, that just means like, oh, some kits that have the lesser combinations are just gonna get you know left behind and stay in the back of the line, um, you know,
right.
from beginning to end of the game. So I think it's probably one of those things where the pros outweigh the cons, or the other way around. So it's like, yeah, it probably makes some weapons worse, but it also, if we were to do that, it would make the gameplay not as fun for most
Right.
of the people. So, yeah, I guess they're just. It's just one of those things where maybe just those weapons are better for the casual players who just want to play turf war, and that's it. Because I feel like they keep the casual players in mind when coming out with like weapons that they probably know some of the weapons aren't going to be like used in high levels of play, but they know, okay, we still got casual players who just want to play turf war, and that's it. So we'll give them like what's like it's like a weapon that's just really only ever used in turf war, like the arrow spray, the gold arrow spray. I think that one's the least used one. Is the gold. Um,
Yeah, gold aerospace is pretty much a gimmick because
yep.
it was pretty much like a baller and sprinkler, I believe.
Yeah, like that one's like okay, it, and I think too like the baller itself was just one of those specials that people like thought was oh man that looks cool, but then in actual practice it's probably one of the lesser specials in the game, the baller itself. But did the baller's not coming back, is it? No, because I think isn't the
Oh, I don't recall seeing the baller there, and I don't think I ever seen. I think they replaced it with the reef slider,
yeah
and it's
yeah
also pretty much kind of like the Kraken replacement.
yeah because I think the baller was supposed to be a replacement for the Kraken originally.
Right.
Uh, like again a lesser replacement for the Kraken. Honestly, I think the Reef Slider is probably a buff for the baller. I don't know because it's like okay, it's completely invincible. You can't break it like the baller, um, and like it's a guaranteed big explosion. So just don't if you're in the line of sight of that thing, you're dead. So get out of the way. Whereas the baller, like honestly, if you hit the baller like 2 times with the dynamo roller, you got it. you know.
Yeah.
So I could I can safely say I think I can safely say because Splatoon 2 like severely nerfed a lot of almost all the specials. Whereas Splatoon 3, I think they buffed some of them. I didn't really see how they changed like how the Booyah Bomb was changed much because I think again I think that only had a couple weapons on it and I don't think I
It
used
was
it.
only on one weapon, and that was on the Hydra Splatling, so many people
Oh,
didn't really give it a
so
shot at
most
that.
people didn't use it then because I can't see anyone unless that was just your favorite weapon ever and you used it multiple times. Like that's a very acquired taste weapon. Like you have to have used it for a while to really get it. Same
Right.
same with the dynamo roller. Like I know a lot of people who won't touch the dynamo roller because it's so slow. Um, but it's
Yeah.
like you know that's why I like it because I like using the slow. I I don't like you using the slow weapons because they're slow. I like using it because it's like oh well y'all don't like using it, but y'all are gonna see like why you're gonna hate it being used against you. you know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't
Yeah.
take the time to get used to it, so I'm gonna be the thorn in your side. But yeah, I think is there anything else in particular you want to bring up, or you think we're good?
um. Other than that, I don't think I have much else to say. Like the splash tags was a nice thing that they added. The titles you can create are nice. Like probably one thing I want is just like to customize the colors on those splash tags. Like with some designs I love, but I just don't like the colors of it, you know? But that's about it.
Yeah, another thing I noticed too is like the emotes themselves, those were like obviously noticeable. The fact that you don't
Yeah.
see you only see the winning team's poses, which I'm glad they did, by the way, because I think it would be pointless to have emotes if you can't see them. Like if you could only see your
Right.
team's losing pose, but you can't see the like what would be the point of having emotes, winning emotes if you can't see the winning team teabagging you, or dabbing you or something.
Right.
It's like what would be the point of those if you can't see them? So good thing they did that. One thing I thought, oh, it seems like this is sort of superfluous. Was the little name tags that you put on the splash tags? Like, I found myself not even looking at those most of the time. Like I paid more attention to the actual names of the players because sometimes those are just some in general, sometimes people like just put the just the weirdest names, on their Mii's or whatever
Right.
they use for their profile. Like a lot of times, those are like more like outrageous than the any of those like titles that they had for the splash tags. But there were I just never found myself looking at the splash tags, and also um, I think I kind of noticed like the number that they like put at the end whenever you make your profile name, the little the little hashtag
Oh yeah,
that they
that.
put at the end. Um,
Yeah.
at first, I thought that was like a Discord tag. Like when I was first seeing that trailer, when they first showed the splash tags, I was like, "What's the point of this number here? Like, is that your is that a Discord tag? Is it like the last four digits of your friend code? Is it like what is it?
Right.
Because like it was only because I saw it was only four digits, and obviously there's going to be more than four digits of people playing Splatoon. So why would they only have four? It's like but I think it probably now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the splash tags with the number, it's probably a way to like make it easier to add friends without having to look for friend codes. Because maybe like instead of using friend codes, you can be like, hey, what's your username on Splatoon? And then it's kind of like Discord where you just need their username and the last four numbers at the end. So, um,
Yeah.
so I could see that being better. Oh yeah, one thing it made sense why it wasn't there, but I was like, man, if they let us do this, that would have been cool. Is the replay function to be able to see the replays? I thought.
Oh yeah, that would have been awesome. But like it is a demo, and they just want to tinker with like trying to get the battles right first
Yeah.
off. Like that's their main priority. So I understand why they didn't do it for the demo. Well,
Yeah.
but still, it would have been nice.
And I think yeah, I think this is probably the last thing I'll just talk about because I don't think we mentioned it the whole time we've been talking here. But the practice room is they put probably more emphasis on the training room than they did on the hub world.
Oh yeah,
Even
they
as
definitely did.
detailed as like the hub world looks crazy good. We didn't get to see it how it looks normally, but especially with the Splatfest motif, it looks beautiful. But even the training room looked like there was like they spent a lot of time just really getting the training room right because I think everyone can safely say that the Splatoon 2 training room was very meh uh, at best.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, they didn't have the giant dummies, unlike Splatoon 2 or Splatoon 1. And even Splatoon 1's like training room, I mean, that's to be expected. That was the first game. But even that one I think was a little better than Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2 had they added the moving dummies, but like I don't know. It just kind of felt
Like that
like
was about it. Pretty
yeah.
much.
But the Splatoon 3 training room actually feels like they put a lot of effort into making it like an actual good obstacle course. Not just a training room,
Right.
but they had like little obstacles and little um,
Yeah.
they kind of made it like a mini stage because you had the corridors on this little corner at the side and you jumped up. It kind of gave looks like it gave you sort of a couple opportunities to use the squid surge along with like the dash back and forth.
Yeah, and also another thing was in that training room was actually like the dummy, pretty much that you could
Yes,
actually like have the
yes,
robot,
yeah. The
like the dummy robot, pretty much. It was really cool to see that.
what they called it, the copy machine. That's what they called it. Yeah. Uh,
Yes, yeah, they called it the copy machine, and it's a really nice addition to actually see like how long something can last with some hits like of a regular spider shot, and sometime in the future we get to actually change the copy machine's weapon. That would be even more cool. So, or like if they have multiple copy machines to see like what
yeah.
can we test out with it.
What would be
And,
really
like
cool is if you could somehow put like uh even if it's just the main abilities, like assign abilities to the copy machine, so you could test out how your
right,
weapon does against like certain abilities, like high damage or high defense up, or I guess bomb defense up or something like that. Or I know there's some what is it? There's some weapons that like or some abilities that increase like
1 second. Oh, no.
oh go ahead.
Sorry for that.
Had a
Yeah,
had
family
some
wanted me to pretty much go and eat
oh a
like go
little
and
bit
eat
of
dinner
background
because it
noise.
is almost it's getting late, so I got.
Oh All right. We'll just do closing statements here. So overall, I mean, either way, even like there's really like there's no way. I mean, I'm glad it was, it was a great demo, but I honestly I couldn't see how they could mess up this demo. It's like it didn't seem possible to mess up the demo. It looked like you're playing the main game, and if the game's even half of what it was like here, I'm like, yeah, I'm super excited to get Splatoon 2. It's it's a it's it's a day one for me, or as close to
In
day one
here.
as I can get it. So. Um,
Yeah.
Other than the really to me the biggest thing for me was the tricolor turf war, you know, balancing. Because I feel like that'll affect, um, even minus the whole disconnect thing. I feel like people will sort of get over that. But the tricolor turf war, that's like a long lasting thing. Like, oh, you are forever the loser of this Splatfest. If you lose the Splatfest, that's a mark in history. You lost this Splatfest for here and forever to come. So it's like if they like, and I'm sure I'm sure they already know, like, okay, we really gotta balance this. But you got any
Yeah.
what closing statements?
Like, I'm just gonna say, like, as much like, even if I have my problems with this game, I'm still really looking forward to this game. Like, it is by far the most fun I've ever had with any like game in general. Like, just playing through it, it just feels so smooth. I'm looking forward to like what the future for this game has to hold, and I'm really looking forward to like playing through this game more. Like, just not like just the base game itself, like with its current single player, but also any upcoming DLC that's going to happen. And I have a lot of hopes for this game, and I'm not going to try to set it too high. I do want to be realistic, and all that. But yeah, and there's not, you know, that's going to make me more happy than just hoping the game has a good life, pretty much.
Yeah. Like on that point, and I'll close with that too, because you were talking about like the DLC. I'll say if what we're seeing is true with the single player being like the base game single player being like really fleshed out an actual good story mode, then
Right.
um, if that formula translates to the DLC, where the DLC is actually going to have a story mode, like a fleshed out story mode too, then shoot, that'll be a like just a great. Honestly, it'll be great value too if it has like this, if it costs the same as the Octo expansion, then yeah, that is a steal for how much content you'll be getting. Um,
Right.
like probably more content than it's content than most like big shooters will have. Call of Duty stuff like
Yeah.
that, because a lot of that stuff,
Yeah. And
a lot of like
mm,
single player content, especially nowadays, coming out on those those series, a lot of that, like the base um like campaign single player stuff is through DLC. It's like,
yeah.
or the opposite, where the multiplayer you have to pay for that as DLC. There's some games where that you can't even play the multiplayer without playing DLC. But Nintendo, at least that Nintendo's getting right with this game. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. Anything else from you?
Nothing else to say other than just that. Like, I'm looking forward to this game playing, and I'm definitely going to be playing this game like day one it comes out. Once I get my physical copy come and in from the mail, because I did pre-order it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you pre-ordered a physical, huh? I still have.
Yeah.
I'm probably for me. I'm probably gonna pick it up at either GameStop or something. I usually get uh I don't know. there've been very few times where I went to GameStop and they've been sold out. I think the only time I went there and a game was sold out, but I was lucky enough to have pre-ordered it, was Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think that's the only time I got something when it was sold out, and I was like, but I pre-ordered it, so lucky me. But yeah, so well, with that being said, everyone who tuned into the stream as we were talking or was watching the VOD after the fact, thank you all for tuning in. And Virile, where can they find you at? What do you got going on?
All right. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. And if you want to check out me more, I am always streaming on Twitch every single Friday. Starting at 12 p.m. PST. I stream mostly right now like Genshin Impact, and I'm going to try and pretty much like Friday is going to be when Splatoon 3 comes out, so I'm going to be streaming that. And I also plan to stream other games soon. Like I want to try to get back into Smash Ultimate for streams, but the online just kind of drives me insane. There and of course I have a YouTube channel. They're both under the same name, VorileBemx. So check me out there. And yeah, I'm hoping that like soon I'm gonna be able to break to 300 followers on Twitch soon.
Oh shoot, I didn't even realize you were closing in on that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like my sub count is like keeps going like back and forth between 184 5 to like 183. Like people seem to like come and go. I'm like, oh man, I'm so close to 200 subs. Like just stop unsubbing. But yeah. So on that note, yeah, similar situation. I've been streaming Xenoblade Chronicles 3 a lot. That's another game that I'm surprised I got that day one. I thought, man, I'm not gonna be able to get this until like a couple weeks after because I had a lot of stuff in the way. But now when Splatoon 2 or when Splatoon 3 comes out, like I plan to sort of put that in a Friday Saturday rotation where I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on Saturday every day for the past or every Saturday for the past month and a half by now. Splatoon 3, I plan to add that to the rotation. So most likely it'll be Splatoon 3 on Fridays and Xenoblade on Saturdays. This week will be different, obviously, because we did this on this Saturday. But I won't be working Monday because Labor Day, so maybe I'll play Xenoblade 3 tomorrow. So never know. But yeah, thank you. Oh, and Virile, you should get Xenoblade 2 and try playing that.
I definitely need to get into one of the Xenoblade games soon.
Especially if you like Genshin Impact. There's a gacha mechanic in Xenoblade 2, and it's not money based. It's actually entirely free, but it's basically gacha.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. I'll just say that. But anyway, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and like I said, for those of you watching this after the fact, leave a like, subscribe, and go over to Vorile's Twitch or YouTube and like and subscribe and follow over there. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. All right.